And welcome back to the Fundability Report. This is Merrill Chandler, your host. And today we've got some, I don't want to say more of the same, but we've definitely got some things that are, that keep going like this. The first thing we're going to reference is an article from bankrate.com. Credit card balances increased in January, but that's not even the truth of what they are talking about. We're actually a 3% increase over February's numbers. And the problem is that what is happening is as inflation grows, so does people's need to put more balances on their credit cards. Some of them are even paying them off. I mean, some literally are paying off credit cards. We call that traffic in fundability terms, right? When you charge it up and pay it down. But think about it. If you have 2 tanks of gas in a billing cycle, and you have groceries in a billing cycle, and you have all these different things in a billing cycle, and they're all more than what you use on that credit line, on that credit limit, is going to be higher, sometimes substantially higher. When it took to fill a tank $60, now it takes $90. And on $1,000 or $2,000 credit limit, that is a significant impact especially for people who are carrying balances month to month. Even if over 2 or 3 months they pay them off, those utilization numbers are killing the overall credit card balance numbers that are being reported. So consumer debt is rising significantly. Just in January alone, $14.8 billion more dollars. $14.8 billion in increased balances. No bueno. So, as we've talked about, whenever you can, here are the numbers. You want to, wherever you can, spread your payments. Here's the fundability of a fundability solution to this challenge. Make sure that when you charge up your revolving accounts, your credit cards, make sure you stay under 1%. So charge them all up so you stay under 1%. Super fundable. Then, if you have to keep spending, spend to less than 7%. Don't go over 7%, and do that against all of your cards. Then, if you have to go, the next tier is up to like 28%. Don't go over 28%, but take all of your cards to 28%, and then 38%. All your cards, and then after that it really doesn't become highly meaningful until you're at 95%. Don't go over 95%. You heard it here first. Remember, at the end of a billing cycle, whatever you've charged, if you go to 98% and then you add interest on top of that, you go over limit, and an over limit is the kiss of death. It's not quite, but almost as bad to your lender relationship as a 30-day late. So please remember those thresholds, write them down, like, love, share, make sure people know how to spread the charges across multiple credit cards so that we can keep those balances down. All right. Next up, Chairman Martin Gruenberg is the chairman of the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC. Well, he in a report that he gave out recently, he highlights, interestingly enough, office space as a potential credit risk. Here's what happens. Remember, everybody went home at COVID. Everybody hasn't gone back to work since COVID. And so offices, and here in Utah, they're literally building commercial buildings. I mean, these high rises, like they're going out of style. And so Gruenberg, the FDIC, is basically saying that these could be high credit risk. Number one, it costs more money to finance the building of it. So the builders, the developers, are carrying huge, massive tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, depending on the complex, in debt. The debt costs more, And so the debt costs more when it comes to what is being financed and how much is being done when it comes to the occupancy doesn't have all the revenue. So he's warning banks, don't lend so much to people who are developing all this commercial space. The occupancy rate, which I don't know, but the occupancy rate is horribly low compared to what it was pre-COVID. So how what's fundability on this? Well, it affects us. That this is why we have found business owners, gig workers, contract workers, 1099ers of all kinds throughout the country have been more fundable when they use their personal home address, not a personal mailbox or PO box, their personal home address as both their personal and business address. Lenders understand that people are not in offices, are not leasing offices, and therefore being at home is more fundable. So we're going to watch that trend, but fascinating to see that there's so much that even at a high level, the FDIC is warning banks credit risk for people who are building these large commercial complexes. All right, next. So one of the questions is there a place for Chat GPT technology, AI technology inside of banks? The answer is a resounding yes. This is an article from the American Banker. The answer is a resounding yes, but the problem is its application. So we're going to be watching this trend. We're going to be watching this trend over time, because you got to know, I'm the consummate English speaker here. You got to know that AI is here and it's going to be coming. And right now, there are multitude of businesses who are using the Chat GPT like API technology in their chatbot or chat experiences between customers and the banks, or customers and the lenders. So more and more is cropping up on how to apply. Right now, we're in the early adopter phase. Millions of people are using it, but it hasn't. It's taking it'll take a little bit of time for all of the vast amounts of information that have been pre-trained, which is GPT. That the T stands for training, right? PT is pre-trained. So all of the data that's available in these search engines is going to be applicable to the lending environment. We'll keep you posted on when and how that continues to unfold. All right, and then the last article we have here is American Banker again. The bumpy road is ahead for credit unions who are into auto lending. Now, this was a number that fascinated me. That vehicle loans account for roughly a third of credit unions' lending portfolios across the nationwide average. A third of their portfolio. Now, remember, interest rates are going up, just like we discussed in commercial buildings, et cetera. Interest rates are going up, so people are pulling back because they're using more of their credit limits to even live their lives and keep their bills paid. And so people are going to be pulling back from buying cars again, which now we got this boom bust thing going on, that there were no cars available during COVID and slightly post-COVID. And now that production facilities are back up, we've got massive interest rates. So it's really the banks are feeling pressures, but credit unions, since it's such a large percentage of their portfolio, there's a whole lot of worry out on the road about how to move these vehicles that are in inventory. And so guaranteed fundability, guaranteed you're going to see tons and tons and tons of 0% financing. And then they're going to say OAC, or on approved credit. Make sure you're fundable. Make sure that 0% financing, you're going to have to qualify likely for a full 720 credit score of the credit score that is pulled. Remember, there's 3 bureaus with different scores. Whatever bureau is pulled, 0% financing. And if you have not learned the insider secrets, the strategy about how recreational vehicle and boat and auto dealers take advantage of you in a purchase and financing, they'll bring you in, they'll offer 0% financing, and then choose a credit score that doesn't qualify you and still see if you can see if you'll do the deal with them. Make sure you go to myfundingsystem.com. myfundingsystem.com. You've got to get the master course where you can learn how to save literally thousands of dollars on every single high ticket purchase. No joke. So that takes us, that finishes off for today's episode of the Fundability Report. My name is Merrill Chandler, your host. I will see you next Tuesday, 3:45 Mountain Time. That's 5:45 Eastern and 2:45 Pacific. Have a great day.